Hello and welcome to Nurse Table Talk. I'm Nurse Julie. I have a very special guest today. Her name is Rachel. She is a Pilates expert from England. She has her own YouTube channel called The Girl with the Pilates Mat. She has about 100,000 subscribers. She has her millions of views on her videos, and she's known throughout the world. So welcome, Rachel.
Thank you very much indeed. What a lovely introduction. That sounded great.
Thank you. And I wanted to let our viewers know that Kathy is unable to be here today. And then as a reminder to our viewers to always check with your doctor for exercise clearance before starting any exercise program. So thank you for that as well. And let's get started. So Rachel, maybe you could tell us a little bit about you and your background.
Absolutely. So let's start off with my age, because I think that's really important to let everyone know. So I've just turned 57 and I trained as a dancer. So from the age of 3, I trained in ballet. I also trained in tap, modern dance, jazz, all that kind of stuff. So
Wow.
I've been moving for 54 years. 54 years.
Wow.
So quite a long time. And to how I became a Pilates instructor, I'm going to kind of cut through as much of my background as I can so we get to the important stuff for you. Is I had trained as a ballet dancer. I was working professionally as a dancer, and during one of the shows that I was in a very vigorous routine, and I basically split my knee. So the meniscus in my knee, medial meniscus, right knee, I split it on stage. It was incredibly painful.
Wow.
I didn't know at the time what it was, and I only found out subsequently. But of course, as you can imagine, Julie, that was the end of a professional dance career, because I just couldn't move my knee the way I could before. Now, the reason Pilates comes into this is at the time I hadn't heard of Pilates. I didn't know what it was. And it was only years later, where I'd moved into another profession. I was actually working in a TV production, and I was in the States. I was in New York, which is where Joseph Pilates started his first studio, and I'd injured my back because I've been spending days filming and I had a very bad back. Anyway, long story short was I went to see an osteopath, and the osteopath treated my back, and he said to me, "Have you heard of Pilates? I think it would be really, really good for you, being as you're a dancer." I told him about my knee injury. And so that really was the beginning. I went along to a class. I can't even remember where it was because it was so long ago, 23, 24 years ago, somewhere on 8th Avenue, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I did the class. I absolutely loved it. And I think it was because for the first time in years, I came away from that class feeling better in my body. And I think that's one of the big things about Pilates, as opposed to lots of other exercise. You can feel like, certainly when you're in your youth, you try all kinds of crazy stuff. And do you remember, Julie, the phrase, "no pain, no gain"?
Yeah, I do.
That's like the worst phrase in the world for me now, because if it hurts, it means it's not good for you generally.
Yeah.
So this is what I live by now. And that class kind of started me on the path to my training. So came back to the UK. I signed up for a course as a client, and I did Pilates for 10 years as a client before I decided to make that big transition into training as a Pilates teacher. And that training I did 11 years ago. So I've now been teaching for 11 years, and that's brought me to where I am now.
Wow, overcoming those health conditions, and you're an inspiration to us all, and showing our viewers that it can be achieved, you know. I know my connection with you was I was searching for beginning stand-up exercise videos and for beginners. And, because sometimes it can be intimidating. Thinking of Pilates, it's kind of scary. Sometimes people think, well, they have to be an expert. but looking at what you achieved and the pathway and the goals that you've overcame, I mean, should be inspirational to us all.
Well, I do really try and encourage people to think that way. And I'm really glad you brought that up, Julie, because it can be really intimidating, can't it? You see celebrities that do Pilates and they're
Yeah.
really thin and really bendy and all that kind of stuff. And actually, that's not what Pilates was created for. So Pilates, named after the creator Joseph Pilates, his vision was that everybody should be entitled to feel good in their body. Everybody should understand their body. And it's not that you have to be perfect, look perfect, be thin. It's that you need to feel good within your body and it needs to function well. And that really was what brought me to the YouTube channel, to creating that, was that I wanted to have a place where people could go, where they could learn to move without being intimidated about whether they could do the movement, they couldn't do the movement, whether I looked like a model. You know, it's not about that at all. It's about learning to understand your body, to work with your body. And I'm sure there's lots of people out there who have all kinds of conditions that they live with. And I can tell you, Julie, we have lots of people on the channel who write to me who are dealing with arthritis of the neck or the lower back or osteoporosis or osteopenia, or they've had a hip replacement or they've had a knee replacement. All those people I want to help. That's really my raison d'etre.
And you know, the reason that I was searching, Rachel, is because I was waking up in the morning and I was really stiff and I had joint pain and some arthritis, and I also had a fall. And I thought, I've got to get on top of this and gain control. I'm in my 60s, and you know, it's never too late to start. And I really, you know, Rachel's videos, I would like to share this, that she has a multitude of videos out there, and videos for beginners and for people to start off. And you know, I do your videos, Rachel, now on a daily basis. I love them. It's helped me improve my overall flexibility. I'm working on my posture, my balance, and it's just been awesome. So I just wanted to share that today with our viewers and let them know that, you know, tune into Rachel's channel, The Girl with the Pilates Mat, and we will be sharing links with your information as well, your YouTube and your website. That'll be in our description.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's lovely to hear how you've experienced the channel, Julie, because that's what's really, really important. Are the things that I've noticed are common when somebody gets, let's say, over 50, 55, things that start to really change. Obviously, as women, things change a lot for us when we go through the menopause. That changes your body and your muscle structure and all sorts of things. Later on, what will happen, and this is across the board, men and women, we lose balance, we lose our coordination. Those are the two things I've noticed more than anything that happens to everybody. No one is exempt. Your balance will start to go and your coordination. So those are the two things that I really have targeted in my videos. As you will know from the standing videos, there are a lot of movements where I am challenging you to balance. Just to hold one leg off the ground, for example, doesn't sound like it would do a lot, but actually there is so much going on in your body when you're doing that, because you've got the proprioception of your foot on the floor, you've got the messages that that foot is sending via the nerves up to your brain on how to hold your balance there, you know, all that kind of stuff. And what I do know is that when you do that every day, it really does make a difference. Just as you said, you've noticed that in your own body.
It's tremendous, tremendous. Yeah. And what I also love is your gift of teaching and how you explain how to do the exercises. You're very clear, and then you have great instruction, and you're very soft-spoken, and you offer praise and encouragement. But also, you know, it's not too fast. The pace of the video, the exercise is not too fast. It's not too slow. It's perfect for me. And again, I'm in love with your videos and I love watching you, and I want to thank you so much for, being our guest today and speaking
Oh,
on Kathy's behalf as well, So,
you're very, very welcome indeed. You know, one of the things I think so important is that as we get older, that we don't give up on ourselves, right?
right,
So if you say you have to have a knee replacement, or I've had people with shoulder replacements, hip replacements, it doesn't mean your world has ended. It doesn't mean you can't go and do things that you wanted to do. What it means is your body needs a little bit of care, and that should be a kind of a flag to say, right, okay, this is what's happening. How am I going to look after myself? How am I going to work with this new way that my body's going to be? And believe me, you can work with everything, every condition. Arthritis, you mentioned earlier, and there was one thing I thought would be really important for us to talk about on that, is that with arthritis, obviously arthritis means pain. You feel pain somewhere in your body where that arthritis is. And I think a lot of people, and I know this from the messages that I get, is when they feel the pain, they then become fearful of moving, so they move less. Now, going back, 50, 60 years, my grandparents were told when they got arthritis, don't move, sit in a chair, you'll be fine. And that was the rest of their life, sitting in a chair, right? But we
right.
don't have to do that. And actually, if you look at all the information out there, in the UK, we have a very good organization called Arthritis UK. And I'm sure you'll have the equivalent in the States.
Right, we do.
Yeah, and you will look and you'll know this, Julie, that what they're encouraging people to do now when you have arthritis is to move more. Yeah, because when you move more, you create flexibility. You release tension in the body. So for example, if someone's got arthritis in their shoulder, what will happen is they will start to tense because of the pain. And I'm exaggerating, but all this kind of thing is going to go on in your body. Whereas if you can learn to relax the shoulders, to move, to gently stretch out the head, the neck, all that kind of stuff, it'll relieve the tension. And when you relieve the tension, it relieves the pain, right?
It is, and it's a great way to start your day with the stretching and feel better and work that into your daily routine and all of that. I mean, I'm just thrilled, Rachel. I love your videos. I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
And I'll be watching daily, and please, look at Rachel's videos and find the one that works best for you.
Exactly.
Don't hesitate to use a chair video if you need to, and start off slowly and work towards a realistic goal for you.
Exactly. That's the perfect advice. And that's what I say to everyone, Julie, is don't feel like you're in a competition with anyone else. It's about what feels right with you. And I say this to people all the time. If you're doing an exercise and it doesn't feel right in your body, just don't do it. And that's absolutely fine. The key is, just as you say, find what works for you. One of the things I would love to recommend is, because I know we talked about this just before we recorded the interview, is a lot of people when they get older are fearful of going down on the floor. Now, if you're finding that your balance is not right, or your flexibility is not allowing you to get down on the floor, then as Julie said, you can do the chair videos, you can also do the standing. And the beauty of doing particularly the standing ones, and you can do them holding onto a chair if you need to as well, is it will build more flexibility in your spine, in your hips and in your knees. And I've had people say they couldn't get down on the floor. They started with the standing work, and then eventually after doing it for 6 months, 8 months, a year, they're finding that now they feel secure and confident that they can get down as well as get back up again. And as I always say, don't try getting down until you know you can get back up.
Yes, I agree with that. I know you have things that you need to do today. So I just want to thank you so much for being our guest. And
you're very, very welcome.
And I'll be watching, and thanks again. And in closing, to our viewers, thanks for viewing, and see you next time. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Like the content you just watched? Hit the like button or hit subscribe here. If you want to be notified of any future videos, please ring that bell. If there's any topic you'd like to see discussed, leave us a comment in the comment section. Nurse Table Talk. Save time, save money, be informed. Thanks for watching.